Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel and this is my library. Today I will be walking you through my update of the February portion of my reading journal. So it's that time, guys. February has finished and March has started. I already finished filming my February wrap up and my March TBR. So now the only thing left to do is update my reading journal. So the first thing I want to do is update my books read for the month of February. I did finish reading Brat very early on in February, so I was able to update that quickly, but I'll go ahead and continue updating. After I read Brat, I read Word Hunter, and I went ahead and gave that one 2.5 stars. Then after reading that, I read Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. And this was a 5-star read for me. I thought it was a lot of fun. I actually have a reading vlog up where I read Word Hunter, Beautiful Ugly, and Afterlife. All of these part of various book clubs that I am a part of. And I love having all my books written in this manner. I obviously update my Goodreads after each of my reads and I post a small little review there, but I just love having a physical list of everything that I read each month. So the 14th book was The Strange House, Volume 1. By Uketsu, and this was a 4-star. Then I went ahead and read Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear. This is number 10 in the Wayward Children series. This one was a 4-star read for me. And then my last read was The Test. And this was a 5-star read for me and my very favorite book of this month. So now that I've updated my list of books read, we're going to move on to color coordinating what each of these were. So I did already do Brat, as I told you earlier, so we're going to go ahead and pick up with Word Hunter. And Word Hunter pretty much is a mystery. Some could say it is a thriller, but I think I feel comfortable putting it under the mystery category. So I'll go ahead and mark this off as a mystery. Then we had Beautiful Ugly, which is a thriller. So I'll go ahead and mark number 12 as a thriller. Then we have Afterlife, which is a YA book. So I'll go ahead and get that marked off. It's the first YA that I read this year. Not a big YA reader, but if the premise interests me, I do pick them up from time to time. Then we'll move on to The Strange House, which is a manga. And for these, I know it would go under horror possibly, but I do like to keep my manga and graphic novels coordinated a little differently, so I just kind of do them like that. So I'll go ahead and mark that off. And next we have Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, which is fantasy. I don't read much fantasy, but the consistent fantasies for me are always the Wayward Children series. So I'll go ahead and mark that. It's the first fantasy I read this month. And by the way, these are the Papermate flares that have the flare on one side and then they have the brush on the other. I absolutely love these. I wish they had them in more colors. And then lastly, we have The Test, which I think fits best under sci-fi. So I'll go ahead and mark that as sci-fi. And look at me having a YA, a fantasy, and a sci-fi all in 1 month. And I just really like being able to see the different colors and see what I am reading more of or less of. I clearly have read some mangas and I've clearly read a lot of horror, 3 thrillers. It just gives me a way of kind of seeing what I'm reading a lot of or what I need to read a little bit more of based on those colors. So now I'm going to look through my 25 and 25 and I'm going to see if I read any of these this month. And if I did, I'll go ahead and put the rating. So it seems like Beautiful Ugly was the only progress I made in this. And that was a 5-star. So I'll go ahead and mark off my 5-star on Beautiful Ugly. And this just keeps me focused a little bit on whether or not I'm completing some of these challenges that I've set up for myself. So far, I have read 3 from the 25 and 25, which is not bad. And then I'll see if I read any from the 24 and 24, and I did not. These are the leftovers from that. And then maybe my third time is a charm, the 15 leftover books from 2023, which The Test is on there. So yay me, made some progress there. And again, this was a 5-star, so I'll go ahead and mark my 5-star right underneath. And yeah, made some progress on this one as well. So just maintaining, and a lot of this for me is maintaining from month to month. And it makes it easier for me to have a visual of how I'm doing with the various challenges that I'm trying to complete. So again, I did do Brat, but I'm going to go ahead and now jump to Word Hunter. So I'll go ahead and mark off here Word Hunter. And I've tried, I said again in my initial flip through of this, I've tried different methods for this. I do like the 1-pager. I think it allows me to fit everything in nicely. I believe last year I had multiple pages for my ABC challenge. So then we have Beautiful Ugly. So I'll go ahead and mark down Beautiful Ugly. There's that one. And then I also read Afterlife. So that's my first A book. So we'll mark that there. Then The Strange House, my first S. And this is volume 1, so I'll go ahead and mark that. Then we have Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear. Let me change the color up on that. So we have Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear. And then lastly, we have the test. So I'll go ahead and add the test here. And that's the update for this month in my ABC challenge. So now I'll go ahead and begin updating my shelfie. And I know I mentioned in my initial flip through that I was completing or reading a lot of teal colored, blue, aqua colored books. We'll see if this month things changed a little bit. So I did color in Brat. So the first one I'm going to fill in today is Word Hunter. So let's go ahead and find a nice spot for it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right here to add a little bit of color. And the placement of these doesn't really matter. I just kind of like to vary the colors up a little bit. And I also like to make sure the word fits in. So some of these are a little longer for longer titles and some are smaller for shorter titles. So next we have Beautiful Ugly, which happens to be another teal colored book. So here we go. Let's find a spot for Beautiful Ugly. I think I'll go ahead and do it right here. So there we have Beautiful Ugly. And next we have Afterlife. That's a brown colored book. So we haven't seen that. And it's a shorter title too, so maybe we can put it right over here. So this will be Afterlife. There we go. And now The Strange House, which is like a black cover. So we'll do like a dark gray or maybe like a silver for that. And that's The Strange House Volume 1, so it's a little lengthier. And let's go ahead and put it right here. And then we have Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, which is like a darker green, kind of olive colored. And that's a very long title, so maybe we'll go right here. And that's number 10 in the series. And then lastly, The Test, which is like a white cover with some blue and red stripes on the side. So we'll go ahead and do maybe like a lighter gray. And it's a short title, so I'll find a small little spot for that one and fit that in. And there is the test. So that does complete our shelfie. Now that that's updated. Oh, and I'll show you which ones I'm using for this. So I'm using the dual brush tip pens for this. These are the ones that I'm using for the shelfie. Bought these a while back and they're pretty good quality. So there is the shelfie updated. So now we're going to dive into some of the buzzword challenges and see if I was able to complete any of them. So I don't think I had any truth and lies. Water words, I do have adrift and currents clean and clear. So I'll go ahead and place that one. I have already printed my little book covers so that it speeds the process up a little bit. So for water words, I'll go ahead and include this one right here. It's a small space, so I won't be able to fit in two. So I'll just kind of lay it down in the center, and I'll put it for my water words with currents. Okay, so that one is set up. I don't think I have animals, 2 and 2, no memory words, punctuation with events, violent words, never. Alliteration, I do have adrift and currents clean and clear, but I've already put in 2 for this, so I won't add it for this one. And yeah, I think that's all I can update for my buzzword reading challenge. So let's look at some of these for the covers, see if I can put any of those there. So we have patterns and we have a skyline, which I definitely can use beautiful ugly for that one. So I think I'll go ahead and add beautiful ugly for skyline. I think that's all I'll be able to fit in for these ones. And I had a lot of ideas in the back when I was trying to map out what would work for this category or not. So I'll go ahead and erase that. Don't need those anymore. I've gotten 2 already for that category. And then I don't think I have any with books. I believe I have animals because I do have adrift and currents clean and clear. This does have the turtle on there. So I'll go ahead and add that one on there. They're a little bit off size. Let me see if I can cut a little bit off of the top of this one to make it line up a little bit better with Brat. There we go. So I've read 2 that fulfill that already. So I think we're good there. And again, I did mention this in my initial flip through of my journal, but I do use my Canon Ivy printer for this, and it works pretty well. You can also use your Cricut. I've used that before. It's a matter of just whatever I have handy. So we have eyes and celestial technology. I do have transportation because the cover of Afterlife does have a bicycle on it, and I know you can't really see it here, but there's the bicycle. So I'll go ahead and add my first transportation on the cover, and we'll go ahead and make that Afterlife, and I'll put it here off to the side so I can fit in another one if I can read something else with that. And then foliage I already have, nothing with weapons, no food or drink. However, I do have a monochrome one. I think Ward Hunter fits beautifully for that since everything is red and just sketches. So I'll go ahead and add monochrome for this one. So I've already fulfilled it, which is great. So right now I'm really just missing something with books. Strangely enough, nothing I've read so far in these first 2 months have that. And then eyes and celestial weapons. And then I'll pretty much be kind of done with this one. So that's great. So these are part of my TBR recommends that I subscribe to, and I had already updated Brat. So I'll probably add tiny threads to my TBR soon, maybe next month, so that I can fulfill all those. That's the last of the 3 from the December/January recommendations I received to kind of finish that. And so next we have reading the Rainbow Challenge. So I believe there's a couple I can fulfill here. So I do have my green, which I can use Adrift and Currents Clean and Clear for that, because that's very much a green cover. I'll show you so you can see it here, but it's very much a green cover. So I'll go ahead and add that one to it, and I'll line it up here at the bottom so it kind of goes with this. And then I will add from the sticker sheet the little green sticker on the side. And then I can kind of erase all of these. And I love just penciling things down and then just erasing for cleaner looks once I'm done. And I don't think I ever talked to you about my Archer and Olive notebooks, but those are my go-tos. The paper's thick. You can erase and erase, and it doesn't really damage the paper. And I find that most of my pens do not bleed through. So those are the ones I've been using consistently for the past couple years. I also have a brown cover with Afterlife. So we'll go ahead and add Afterlife to there. So we'll go ahead and put this one here. And that will be my brown cover. Looks great. I'll erase a little bit around. I also have as my white cover the test. So that's pretty much a good match for that. And I'll go ahead and use the test for that category. And I'll grab my white sticker. Let's see, where do I want to put it? I think I'll do it here. And then I'll erase a little bit of the spacing I gave myself. And that's pretty good. And so we're coming along. The thing with this also is, this is a red cover, and I picked this last month, but clearly I had a better red cover this month, but it is what it is. I kind of just, I'll commit to whatever I ended up picking first, and this is mostly my way of creatively displaying what I am reading and keeping track of the different challenges that I want to do throughout the year. So no progress has been made for my TBR jar. I still have these 2 on hold. Hopefully I can get to them within the next month or 2 so I can pick again. And here we have the spread for the Book Troop book club. So I did read the February book. and that was Beautiful Ugly, which, as you already know, I rated 5 stars. So I'll go ahead and color these in since I did finish this. Okay, so that's colored in. So the January book was a 3-star and the February book was a 5-star for me. And of course, I will be reading Listen to Your Sister for the month of March. Once Gabby from Gabby Reads, who's the creator of the Book Troop Book Club, reveals the next 3 months, I'll go ahead and print those and add those and then just continue with this page. So for the Literally Dead book club that Kayla runs from Books and Lala, I have not read the February book yet. It is definitely carrying over from February to March. Hopefully I can get to it this month, so I can't really update this. The March selection is You're Fatally Invited. That has been added to my TBR. And then I'm going to update The Inheritance, which is her April selection. So I went ahead and printed The Inheritance sticker on there. And I'm going to drop it right there. And so again, when she reveals her other month picks, I'll go ahead and add those. But I do have to make some progress with this challenge. So for the Read Christie, again, this is another one I'm falling a little bit behind on. So I did read the January pick, February and March. I will try to squeeze in this month. This is a short story collection, so I should be able to get through this fairly quickly. And then those are the next ones. And they do reveal all the book selections or book options right from the beginning of the year, which is why this one is completed. And all I have to do throughout the year is just add my star rating as I read. My TBR tarot card game did not get to this yet, so whenever I do get to it, I'll go ahead and draw another card. But for now, no progress on this one. So for the blurb game, I am currently reading The Echo Wife, and I have not started either of these. And none of the books that I finished this month were giving me another blurbed author or book to add, so this stays the same for this month. So now we'll go ahead and see when these books were published so I can update this part. So for the most part, since I know I'm reading with a purpose for different challenges and different things I'm trying to fulfill in my reading journal, what I normally do is as I find out these things when I read the books, I'll go ahead and make sure I put the year, I'll put where it takes place, I'll put if it's a particular color that I need. So I kind of do this to make my life a little bit easier. So this is a 2024 release, so I will mark that now. It starts off in Russia and then moves on to Colorado. I guess I could do both, but I don't want to double dip too much. So I'm going to pick Russia as the country for later on updating the map of the world, simply because I think I might find something else set in Colorado. I'm not sure if I'll find something else that's partly set in Russia. So I'll go ahead and do that. So this is a 2024 book. So I'll go ahead and update. If you see here, I am obviously reading a lot of books that are written in 2024, 2025. So I already have one 2024. Oh no, I left this out. Let me put it back. So I have already read one 2024 and 3 more down here at the bottom. So now I'm going to add yet another one. I try to use something that matches the cover for the most part for these as well. So I'll add another 2024 for that one. Next, Word Hunter. That is a 2024 release as well. So we're starting to see a pattern. There's a pattern emerging, guys. I love new releases. And I think this is part of the reason I like doing this, to kind of hold myself a little bit more accountable and see if I could make some progress with reading from different years, books that have been published in different years. But there's just something about a new release that I can't resist. Next, we have Afterlife, which is a 2025 release. I want to double check that. I can't believe it. It is a 2025. So 2025, I haven't had any 2025 released yet. So we can go ahead and kind of mark that in. So that completes that, which is great. So next we have The Strange House, and I didn't mark it down, but I see here it's a 2023 release. Yay, and I missed the 2023, so I needed one of those. So wonderful. We'll go ahead and mark that off as a 2023 release. Then we had The Test, which is a 2019. And another new one, 2019. I have not read a 2019 book. So we'll go ahead and complete that, 2019. And Beautiful Ugly was a 2024 book. So yet another 2024 release. We'll mark it down here. Lots of 2024s. Then Brat. I think I had done Brat already. That's why Brat doesn't have a sticker. And that's that. So these are updated. By the way, I've been updating these with the Sharpie S Note. That's what I've been using for these. And so now this page is updated. So we'll move on to our next one. So my scavenger hunt game, I did not read, or I have not yet read The Comfort of Crows. So that one stays. Can't rate it and can't pick a new one. And I do that to just kind of like limit what goes onto my TBR, because my TBRs are already pretty excessive. So I try to only pick a new one of these once I've completed this one, just to kind of manage a little bit better. And so the Lion Game is still on my TBR, so no progress on this one. So next is the Read with Jenna book club. So I am behind. I have not read either of these, which I really, really want to read. And again, I only add if I am interested in this particular book that they're offering for the month. I'll add it. If not, I just kind of skip it, as you'll see with the next couple book clubs. But I am interested in the March book. So that's another one that I will be adding. It's The Dream Hotel. That is the March pick for the Read with Jenna book club. And I am incredibly interested in that. The premise has to do with the government, I believe, like spying on your dreams or being able to note what you are dreaming. So this clearly has some sort of like sci-fi element to it, and I really, really enjoy books that have that. I'll go ahead and add that as the March book. And yeah, hopefully I can make some progress sometime soon with the Read with Jenna book club. So Reese's book club, The Three Lives of KK, that was actually, unfortunately for me, a DNF. So I will go ahead and not give it a star rating. I do not rate my DNFs. I will just label it a DNF. And I was not interested in the February book for Reese's book club, so I did not add it. And as of when I am filming this video, she has not released the March book yet, so I haven't printed that out yet because I do not know what the March book will be. But if it's something I'm interested in, I will go ahead and add it to that. So this month I did not make any progress with my Kindle Unlimited TBR. Unfortunately, everything I read was physical. I didn't read anything on my Kindle this month, but hopefully I get to some of these in the next month. So I did not make any progress with the scratch off card game, so that stays there. This is my anticipated releases, so nothing to add for these. Midnight Society Book Club. I did read the January one and I updated that. The March selection is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, which was the February book for the Literally Dead Book Club. So I will probably read that in March and then I will update that. So I did read my Bestie Book Club selection, which is my in real life book club that I have with my best friend. So I'll go ahead and put my rating for this. This was unfortunately a 2.75. So I went ahead and rated that. And we have not yet met to discuss this. Once we do, we will pick our next book and I will add that to the list. These don't really go by months. Sometimes we'll meet twice in 1 month. Other times we'll meet every other month. So it just kind of depends on our schedules and when we can get together and how long it takes us to read the book. So now I'll try to complete the Read Around the World challenge and see if I can add any of these to here. So Brat takes place in the UK. So I've already marked down the UK for previous things. So that kind of stays there. No updates for that one. Same thing with Beautiful Ugly, Scotland. So we've already marked that. Same thing with The Test. It takes place in the UK. So a lot of these are overlapped and have already been represented. This takes place in Japan, and I have already updated Japan before because I've read something else that takes place in Japan, so no updates there. And some books don't really give you much information about where they take place, so that's difficult. I know some people complete this challenge based on where the author is from, and I think that's pretty interesting too. But for this year, this is the first year I have a Read Around the World challenge. I'm just trying to do it based on setting. And so some books will clearly tell you where they're taking place and others won't. So yeah, can't do that for all of them. Ward Hunter takes place in Florida, and I believe I have not read anything taking place in Florida. So I will go ahead and fill in Florida. So one new state that we get to fill in. And what I do is I'm just using a colored pencil for this. I thought I could maybe color coordinate, but again, I wanted to keep this kind of simple since it's my first time trying this out. I'm not sure how much success I will have with this challenge. It seems like I need to vary a little bit the locations of what I am reading. So then we have Adrift in Currents, Clean and Clear. And again, I did tell you that it starts off in Russia and then they move to Colorado. But I will go ahead and complete this for Russia, since I think I'll have more opportunities to find Colorado than Russia again. And so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, and there we have it. There is Russia represented with Adrift and Currents Clean and Clear. And we'll go ahead and move on now to my 5-star reads. So in the month of January, I had 2 5-star reads, and thankfully I have 2 more 5-star reads for the month of February. And my 5-star reads were Beautiful Ugly and The Test. So I will go ahead and add those on there. All right, so my 5 stars of this year already makes me very excited, as I have been very ambitious and I made sure I saved 2 spreads for 5-star reads, hoping I'll find a lot of things that I love. So now we'll go ahead and try to see if I can complete anything in the Tackle Your TBR. So Brad, I already did. So we'll move on to Word Hunter. So what I try to do is see how quickly I can fit in whatever book it is that I'm currently trying to fulfill. So either under 300 pages, a new release, seasonal, dark cover. So let me go through there very quickly. I think Word Hunter can fulfill the 300 pages, but let me see if there's something more unique there. I like to save this one just in case I can find something more unique. And I just go a little bit further. And that's probably as far as I want to go. So I think I'm going to commit to under 300 pages for Word Hunter. I believe that's accurate, but let me just double check. Yeah, for sure. So under 300 pages, we'll go ahead and put, this will be number 3. And then I'll fill in number 3 with Word Hunter. I'm going to look for a thinner pen now. Oh no. So let's look for a thinner pen for this. And Word Hunter, I read from the 6th until the 15th. It did take me a little bit to read this. And it was 2.75. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then we have Beautiful Ugly. And I did get Beautiful Ugly as a new release. It was part of the Book of the Month books. So I'll go ahead maybe and add it here. Let me just double check if there's another category. It was a 5-star prediction. So maybe I can fit it in there. I think I'm actually going to use it for that. So this is number 10, 5-star prediction. So I'll put it right here, 10, and it will be Beautiful Ugly. And I read Beautiful Ugly from 215 to 221. And it was indeed a 5-star, as I predicted. Then we have Afterlife. So it could be a new release because it's definitely a new release. It's a 2025 release. It's also outside of my comfort zone because it is a YA book. It is not, okay, I already have a debut novel, multiple timelines, favorite trope. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go ahead and add it for outside of my comfort zone because it is YA and I am not a big YA reader. So 8 will be Afterlife, which I read from 222 to 223. And I did give that 4 stars. And then we have The Strange House. The Strange House. So it's not a new release necessarily. It's not a novella. Multiple timelines, favorite trope, recent purchase. I did recently purchase this because I found out about it and then ordered it and read it immediately the day I received it. So I think I'm going to add it for a recent purchase, which should be 25, 24, 23. So for number 23, 25, 24, 23, we'll do The Strange House. And I read that 223 to 223. I read that the same day I started it. And it was a 4-star. Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear. I kind of like it for the long title, 5 or more words. Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, 6. I could also use it for animal on the cover, but I'm not sure if I should use it for animal on the cover. What's going to be more difficult for me, to find something else with an animal on the cover or a long title? I think I'm going to use animal on the cover because I don't read a lot of things with animals on the cover. So that'll be 17. And it will be Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear. And I read that 223 through 226. And that was a 4-star read for me. And then the test will be the last one. It's not a new release. It is a novella, so maybe there. Sequel over 3. No, no, no. No, no, no. So I think I'm going to put it for novella. It'll be number 9, The Test. Okay. And it was most definitely a 5-star. And I read that from 226 to 227. And I love this old school thing. It reminds me of checking out books from the library. So now we've completed the Tackle Your TBR for this month. That's updated. So now, new month, new favorite. So my favorite was The Test. So I'm going to label this February. And I will go ahead and put The Test on here as my monthly favorite. I think that works. So new month, new favorite, updated. And then I also want to update my bracket. So I'll put another copy of that here for February. Erase a little bit and add the month of February on there. So we'll do February and update that. Top 10 books of 2025 will come way later in the year. So now let's see how we did with our February TBR. That had a lot of things on there. So I did read The Test. Update that. Let's highlight The Test. Completed that. And I did read Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear. Let's update that. I am currently reading The Echo Wife. I did read and finish The Afterlife. I did attempt to read this, so this will be a DNF. But I will highlight this just the same. And I think that's pretty much what we were able to get. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There might be some things I read that I did not add. And I believe it is The Strange House, which I ordered and added to here. So I'm going to add The Strange House and mark it off, because that did come into my reading plans, but it was not initially on my TBR. So now I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're all caught up. So let's see if we were successful in completing the February bingo. A book that has won a Pulitzer. Don't think that we can do that. A book written by a Black author. I don't think any of these fulfill that. A book with a meet cute. Don't think I have that. A book set in a country you want to visit. Brat was already there. A book with a small town romance. Don't think I have that. I have a book with a red cover, Word Hunter. A book translated from a different language. I definitely have that. With Strange House, I am not sure if I have any others. Let me just double check that. Definitely translated. So I'm going to add The Strange House to this. And it looks like we might have made just one bingo. So just going like this. That's the only bingo we got. Unfortunately, last month I did way better with my bingo. I did not do so hot in the February bingo. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the March TBR with everything that I have next to me on my TBR and carrying over whatever I plan on trying to read from here. So I'll go ahead and add those and kind of speed you a little bit as I'm doing that. And so you're back, and this is pretty much everything that carried over from previous months and that has now recently been added. There are still more things I will obviously add. Whatever my best friend and I pick as our next book read will be added here. Whatever Reese's book pick for March is, if it's something I'm interested in, I will add it there, as well as room for mood reading, because again, reading should be fun, and I like to make sure that I allow some wiggle room for me to pick and choose. Or if new books come into my life that I'm really excited to read, I'm giving myself the opportunity to add those and read those. So we'll move forward a little bit, skipping all these future months. And now I'm going to very quickly tabulate how February ended up looking. So for February, I read a total of 1,000. Let me go ahead and do this with a black. I read a total of 1,614 pages. So I read less than I did last month. I read a total of 7 books, again, less than last month. 4 of those were novels, so more novels overall. 2 of them were novellas, and 1 of them was a manga. My average rating was a 4.07, so definitely an increase from the 3.2 from last month. And now, new authors to me. We have 5 new authors to me, and 2 authors I had read from before. I think officially there are 3 that were new releases. I did not do any Kindle reading this month. I did 3 last month. Physical read, I did 1 solely physical, 0 fully audio, and the 6 were combo reads. So at times I read physically, and at times I paired it with the audiobook. In tandem sometimes, and other times just when I was driving around or cooking or couldn't physically have the book with me. So that's the stats for February. So now I'll see if I can complete the overall book bingo, which is an ongoing book bingo that goes throughout all the months. It's not a monthly one. So I'll see if I can make these work. So I'm going to put a book with an animal companion. I'm definitely going to pick for that one Adrift and Currents Clean and Clear. So this will be number 9. Okay. I didn't do any 600 or more page. A book that made you cry, I think I can add Adrift and Currents Clean and Clear and Afterlife. So I think I'll just go ahead and add Afterlife to this one, since I already used Adrift and Currents Clean and Clear. So number 10 will be Afterlife. Published before 2010, I don't have any. A book everyone has read except for you, I don't think any of these apply. A book with more than 2 authors, not really. There's a book with an author and an artist. I don't think that would count. A book from Bookstagram. Not sure if I can add any of these for that. A book that has been banned, a book that is a Newbery Award winner, a book by a local author, a celebrity set during World War II, considered a classic, a book on a controversial topic. I think I can add the test to that. I won't get into too much detail about it to not spoil that book, but I think I can add the test for that. So we'll make this book 11. A book set in your state or country. I can add Word Hunter for that. Didn't think I'd be able to find something that would fit for that, but it did. Word Hunter. A book with a color in the title. Don't think I have any of those. And yeah, so those were the significant updates we made on Book Bingo. So now we have Roll Your Read game. And I've already read my purple, and then I rolled the red, and I completed it. So wonderful. We'll get to pick, and I'll get to roll with you guys and see if I can pick my next read with that. So I'll go ahead and write down that it's a 5-star. And this is so cool. This one was a 5-star, and so was this one. So it seems like my Roll Your Read game is paying off, and it's looking great. So I'll go ahead and do that with you guys now so I can kind of add it to that. So we've read the red and the purple. So I'll move those to the side. And so then I'll have to pick from here. So I'll go ahead and kind of scramble those. And then I'll pick one without looking. All right, so it seems like we're going with pink. And now I need to just roll my die and see what I get out of the 6 prompts. Number 3, a New York Times bestseller. So I think this should be easy. So what I'll go ahead and do is I will search on my 25 that I want to read for 25 or my 24s and see if any of these are New York Times bestsellers. So let me do some researching and I'll be right back. So I did a little bit of research, and The Wedding People is still currently on the New York Times bestsellers list. So it's also one of the books I want to read in 2025. So I think I will go ahead and make this my Roll Your Read. So I will go ahead and set that up, and that will definitely be added to this one. So this will be the pink. So next on the challenges page is this thriller challenge. So I'm going to try to see if I was able to read anything that had these particular tropes. So school setting, neighbors, return to hometown, lie in the title, toxic friendship, trouble in paradise, creepy kid, bad guy POV, dual timeline. So I think for dual timeline, I can put beautiful ugly. So I added beautiful ugly. Trapped together. That would have been a good one for that too. Brat, I could have put for unreliable narrator, but I see I already picked inheritance for it. Now let me see. Afterlife does take place sometimes in a school setting, but I don't know if it's enough for that. Beautiful Ugly would have been good for Neighbors. I think for Trapped Together, I'm going to put The Test, and that's about it for this one. All right, so for Oprah's book club, A New Earth. So I did make an attempt to start reading this one. I am not calling it a DNF as of right now, but I read maybe the first page or so. It didn't grab me immediately, and I figured it was something I had to read and pay a little bit more attention to. Normally, I like doing my nonfiction as audio that I have playing on the background while I'm doing other things. That's normally my preferred way of consuming nonfiction. But I think this is one of those that merits a little bit more thinking and contemplating. So I have left it there, have not added anything else to this one. I'm not interested in picking up the February read or her second book read. I know it's not really monthly, so I'm just kind of waiting. So I'm just waiting for her to release her next book option. And so for the Good Morning America book club and adult YA, I did successfully read Afterlife. So that was a 4-star. I'll go ahead and mark that. I did complete this, which is wonderful. I have yet to read Homeseeking, but they did announce their next YA option, which is the Otherwhere Post, and I am definitely interested in this one. So this is their March YA, and I am very, very interested in this. So I'll go ahead and add it as the March YA. And I will be reading that at some point. They have not yet released their March adult book selection. So once they do, I'll decide if I want to read it or not, and I will go ahead and add it to there. For Kayla's Besties Book Club, I've added Water Moon to my TBR, and I know this is book 3. I still have to read book 1, which is why I added it to my March TBR so that I can get caught up and fulfill that. And so I am interested in participating in Middle Grade March. I've curated pretty much a TBR around that, and I've also gone ahead and secured their 2 buddy reads, which will be The Secret Garden and Moon Garden. Those are the 2. And then I will also be reading some nostalgic picks, which include Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Goosebumps, and Choose Your Own Adventure books, which were books, middle grade books that formulated me as a reader and were such a fundamental staple of my middle grade years as a reader. So I think I'm going to go ahead and dedicate this spread to Middle Grade March and see how many of these are on my TBR, and then of course if I can get through more of them I will go ahead and add those. But I'll go ahead and start decorating my page a little bit, and I'll fast forward you through this so you can see the sped up version of how this will end up coming out. it. These are some of the books I'd like to finish reading during this month for middle grade March. And clearly, ambitiously, I put on my TBR the first 3 volumes of this, first 5 volumes of this, and first 5 volumes of this, since they're fairly quick reads. So I will go ahead and add those throughout the month if I'm able to accomplish reading all of them. And we've now reached pretty much the ending of wrapping up my February reading and adding my March reading. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed seeing me update my reading journal, and I look forward to bringing you more of these flip throughs and walkthroughs as I share my reading journey with you in my reading journal. Thank you guys for watching. Please consider liking or subscribing if you'd like to see more of this content. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me today. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a great day. I'll see you in the next time. Bye.